Hi everyone, my name is Isabel, and I wanted to share how living in alignment with the cycles and seasons of nature has been really supportive of me in my life, especially in my own season of motherhood. I think living in sync with nature is so important and beneficial for everyone. Our bodies have their own cycles and seasons, and when we learn how to pay close attention, we can start to see how they line up with the cycles and seasons of nature and the moon, the earth, and the stars, and we're able to get to know ourselves deeper through these practices. Unfortunately, our modern culture has become so disconnected from our natural selves that it can be really hard and take time to reconnect back to the cycles and seasons of yourself and of nature and start to see the similarities between the two. Today I wanted to share my own experience with cyclical living and how reconnecting back to my own nature has been really supportive of me in my own journey, especially during my transition into motherhood. I also wanted to share a few simple practices that have really helped me to start living a more cyclical life. I think if you were only to do one thing to begin living more cyclically would be to start tracking daily your own inner world in comparison to the outer world. I personally use the Cycles Journal and the Magic of I Planner. The Cycles Journal is great for tracking your period, as well as the cycles of the moon and the seasons. And the Magic of I Planner goes a little bit more in depth in astrology. I use the Cycles Planner more for my own personal tracking, and I use the Magic of I Planner for me and my partner to plan together and to be on the same page. And it also helps me stay up to date on astrology a little bit more. Both of these books have tons of information in the beginning about how to track your own cycle, how to track the cycles and seasons of nature, and connect a little deeper to astrology and the moon. So I think both would be a great start if you want to dive deeper into these things. You really don't need a specific journal or planner to do this. You could just get any notebook or journal and just write each day about how you're feeling, what's going on in your inner world, whether it's your physical body, your mental body, your spiritual body. Also keeping track of what's going on in the outer world. What moon phase is it currently? What season is it? Where are the planets? Where's the sun? Where's the stars? You can go as simple or as in-depth as you would like, but if you keep track of these things for at least a few months, a few moon cycles, you'll begin to see different patterns that are going on in your inner world and their correlation that's going on with the outer world. There is also so much importance as a woman to know where you are at in your own cycle, because you can start to learn when you have more energy to go out and socialize and get things done, and when you should be more introverted and take the time to rest and turn inwards. There's seriously so much you can learn from just tracking yourself on a daily basis. It really only needs to take 5 minutes a day. And once you get the hang of it and have been doing it long enough, you can really gain so many insights into what's going on in your inner world. And yeah, it can also be so supportive of you when you need to create positive change in your life. And it also gives you the space to understand yourself on a much deeper level. Another practice that has been so helpful for me is living in tune with the seasons. When we begin to observe nature, we can reflect and learn how to integrate those practices into our own lives. For instance, spring is a time of planting seeds, new life, new beginnings. Summer is a time of growth and plants bearing fruit and abundance and lots of energy. Autumn is a time where the trees drop their leaves. It's a time of letting go, nurturing the soil for the upcoming seasons, preparing for stillness and reflection. Winter is a time of deep reflection and stillness. It's a time that you can dream. It's a time that you can reflect on what's working for you and what's not working for you. Start to be clear on what you wish to create in the coming seasons and how you want to live your life. And if you're a woman, the 4 phases of your menstrual cycle reflect the 4 seasons of nature. For instance, your follicular phase is symbolic of the time of spring, and your ovulation is summer, and luteal phase is fall, and menstrual is winter. When we honor the seasons, we can start to recognize the times that are best supportive of more doing and the times that are best supportive of more being. There are also different seasons of our lives. There is the season of being a child, and the season of being a teenager, and the season of being a young adult, and then there's the season of being a parent. For me, I'm currently in the early seasons of motherhood, which is a time of stillness and slowness, which is similar to the time of winter and the menstrual season. I'm learning that postpartum is a time to turn deep within while you're tending to your small child and healing yourself and tending to your own inner child. Honestly, there's never been in a time of my life that it's been so important to live cyclically with nature as it has been during motherhood. I've found the more that I've leaned into these practices and these teachings, the more I feel supported throughout this phase in my life. The more I've devoted myself to this lifestyle, just the more I've really gotten to know myself. I've learned what foods are best for me to eat at certain times of my life, when it's best to have the hard conversations, when it's best to have fun and go on adventures. It has also helped me find answers to things that have gone on in my body that maybe would have been recognized as a medical condition that I was able to easily find a solution for just because I've become aware of what's going on inside my body and outside of my body. These practices seem really simple, but they're really profound and they're really life-changing when you commit yourself to them and devote yourself to just a little bit of deeper self-awareness, even if it's just a little bit more each day. And it takes time to come back to our natural selves. There is so much deconditioning that we have to do, so much unlearning of things that are so unnatural to our bodies and to our minds. In all reality, I'm sure it would take lifetimes and generations to completely come back to our natural selves. But if you take the time to do a little bit each day and just to get to know yourself more and more and connect to the earth, connect to the moon, connect to the stars, I feel like we come back to the knowing that we are all so connected, that we are a part of nature, that as humans that we're so interconnected with each other and interconnected to the world and the animals and the plants around us. When we come back to that, there's so much peace and trust and deep support that we're able to tap into. So anyways, I hope these things were insightful and can be helpful for you. I would love to share more. I know this is just kind of a basic intro to these things, but I would love to keep sharing more as I'm learning more myself. I feel like even though I've been studying these things for the past few years, there's still so much to learn, and I feel like I'm just dipping my toes into this new lifestyle that I found to be so supportive and nurturing for me. I've made a little nest in my living room because my baby has been sick the past few days, and so we have just been doing a lot of snuggles and taking lots of little cat naps because she hasn't been able to sleep for long periods of time because she'll cough and it'll wake her up. So we've just been taking lots of rests. She's in a good mood right now. She's still coughing. Oh, honey. She's been coughing, but she's kind of in an independent mood where she's playing with her toys. So I thought it would be a good time to just make a little video and talk about what's been going on in my inner world recently. Warning in advance, she loves the tripod and the camera, so it can be a little tricky to film around her. She might drag the camera away, so if it starts moving, that's why. Do you like brown bear, brown bear? What does Saru say? What does the cow say? Moo. It's been hard for me to get my camera out and record my life because first, I feel like my life just isn't that interesting to record when it's not my child. I feel like everything interesting about me right now is my child, and so it's hard to want to record anything about me or what's going on with me because I feel like most days are pretty mundane. And then it's also just hard to make videos when you have a little child, and when I do have free time, I just want to like relax or clean or catch up on things. I recently just watched a video that I made when I was probably 5 or 6 months postpartum. It was just a little video that I posted on Instagram, but the message that I shared was exactly what I needed to hear the other day. And I feel like that has always been something I've been so grateful for, is like going back to my old journal entries or watching old videos that I made where I'm sharing like my current insights and thought process or lessons that I'm learning, and whenever I go back it seems to be the perfect message for me. Where are you going? I just felt like I've been having just a lot of deep internal processing recently, and even though in my external outside world it doesn't really seem like I'm doing much, I feel like so much is happening within me that it feels important to share, just so I can remember these things and just keep coming back. I feel like we always come back to the same lessons. It's funny looking back at old videos before I ever even got pregnant, and I think sometimes it can be easy to think like, oh, because I'm a mom now and I don't have all the free time that I used to, this is why I'm feeling this way. Oh, I'm feeling this because of this or that. And then I'll like look back at old videos from years ago and I'm like, oh, this has actually been like an old continuous thing. So it's really nice to just kind of like just track what I'm feeling and experiencing, to see the cycles that I'm going through, to see the lessons that I'm learning. Sometimes my past medicine is even deeper medicine for my future self, and sometimes it's just good to be like, oh, I've been in the same pattern for this long and it really is an internal pattern. It's not my external world causing this. My external world is a symptom of what's going on within. When I started my period for the first time after having a baby, I was about 9 months postpartum, I think, and I just started tracking my period pretty regularly, and I got this journal it's called the Cycles Journal, I think. You can track your period with the moon, so it has the moon cycles and astrology, what zodiac sign the moon is in, what season you're in. You can just track each day to like track your mood, like what I'm feeling, what are my energy levels, am I bleeding, am I ovulating, am I in my luteal or follicular phase, how am I syncing with the moon. And then it has a little journal spot to like journal more in depth for every single day. So I've been doing that pretty consistently for about 5 months now, and it's been really interesting to kind of just track what I'm overall feeling and then what I'm feeling in relation to my own cycles and also the seasons outside of me. Like it's winter right now, the time of the year, the moon phase, the zodiac phase. It's been giving me so much deep insight within. I always tracked my cycle probably pretty much consistently since I was 19 or 20. I feel like in the past, before I got pregnant, I used it mostly for like fertility or birth control, so I was able to not get pregnant. And then I was also able to get pregnant first try right away. As I've become a mother, I've realized how important it is to be in tune with my own seasons and also like the seasons and cycles of nature. For instance, right now it's winter, and winter is a time of turning inwards and going deeper within. And then I'm also in my luteal phase, which is inner fall, so it's a time of shedding and letting go and turning within even more. And then being in my postpartum period still, and also breastfeeding and tending to a small child is another inner season. Yeah, then we're also in Aquarius season. It's a good time to reflect and bring awareness to like what's working and what's not working, what's holding me away from true freedom. So it's just looking at all those inner things, my own astrology, my own human design. I've also been digging into the gene keys and studying my hologenetic profile. I also have 1 or 2 months left in my Saturn return, which is another time to bring even deeper awareness and let go of things that aren't serving you. And just the past 2 years have been probably some of the craziest 2 years of my life. Hey! Hello! I mean, when we look at all of the inward and outward seasons and cycles, we can receive so much clarity and guidance and insight and understanding to ourselves. And we also live in a culture that does not encourage slowing down and taking time for that inwardness. We don't slow down for the winters. We don't slow down for different seasons. We don't honor the seasons and live with the moon and live cyclically. I feel like having a child and taking the time to nurture and slow down and resting with her a lot. I take a lot of naps with her, and that just gives me a lot of time to, if I'm not necessarily falling asleep, but I'm laying in bed snuggling with her once or twice a day, it does give me lots of time to reflect and, you know, reflect over the past couple years and also start to get really clear on what I want and like why am I doing these things that I'm doing? Why are these cycles coming up? What thought patterns are living inside of me? How does my inner voice talk to myself? I feel like when we're just constantly rushing in life and constantly going, we don't give ourselves time to process anything. We don't give ourselves time to slow down and reflect. When we're not processing our past and things that we've gone through, and we're not able to integrate those things and really like shift our lives to make things better and to create real true change, we just get stuck in the same old cycles over and over and over, and then it goes for generations and generations. And for me, I'm realizing now that I'm truly like slowing down at this time of my life, I don't know if I've ever allowed myself this amount of time to like slow down and process. And it can be really difficult in a world that doesn't support that, because it's like I feel like so much is bottled up inside, and I'm like, oh, like why have I been doing this my whole life? Like, that doesn't feel good. And then I get to process the emotions about that and really start to reflect and be clear on what I want. And I feel like that's the purpose of winter, is to slow down in deep reflection and recognition of what am I doing here? What brought me here? And also giving gratitude for these things. And then also seeing how you can refine and being like, okay, do I really want this? Am I really going in the direction that I want to be going. Give yourself this reset time so you can start to be clear on the seeds that you want to plant, which as we're coming a little bit closer to spring and we're not near the solstice, which is the darkest time of the year, we're able to be like, okay, I'm clear about what I want now. I'm way more clear than when I entered into winter, and now I want to start planting those seeds, which is like, you know, maybe creating a vision board and writing down what you want to create and the goals, but not quite putting those seeds into the earth yet. It could be, depending on where you live, definitely not ready for it in Utah, but some places I'm sure you could start propagating your seeds and putting them in a greenhouse and letting them start to sprout and grow so they will be ready to put in the earth by springtime. And we get to look at how we can do that on an internal level. There's just been a lot of deep inner reflections about that. I have been getting really clear in what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and also being clear of what I actually want. And so I'll journal about the things that I want, and then I'll be like, why do I want this? Like, what is this gonna bring me if I would have it? I just want connection. I just want stability and security and safety, and I want clean air and fresh water, and I want deeper understanding of myself, and I want to have a regulated nervous system so I can show up as the mother and the partner and the lover and the friend that I know that I'm capable of being. It really is just so simple, the things that I want. And I've been kind of making my goals set up around, okay, like how can I get there every day? Because, you know, maybe if I move closer to nature where I can walk outside and be in the mountains every day, I might still feel these things internally. If I don't do that inner work, I might still feel disconnected and sad and lonely. And so it's like, how can I work on that every day? How can I seek connection with myself every day? And how can I take time on a regular basis to connect with nature and connect with the people that are close by me and the people that I love? When we are able to start living more in alignment with nature, with the earth and the moon and the stars and the sun, and remember that we are nature too, and we have our own seasons and our own cycles. Like I said, I'm postpartum tending to a small child, and I am in my own inner winter, in actual winter. And sometimes you're in opposite seasons, like, oh, it's summer outside, but I'm in a winter. What does that mean? And you get to reflect and see those things. But when we can just reconnect to our natural selves and to the natural world, we just realize that nature is here to support us. It's here to just help us be our best selves. It really is. Like, we're so supported and held at the end of the day when we allow ourselves to live in a cyclical way. I think that's really special and really cool, and it doesn't matter what you believe in or who you are. If you're a man or a woman or what age you're at, I think the earth is here to hold us all and help us all heal. And when we can just start to listen to those like subtle changes, because we're so disconnected. It's hard to even know that you're experiencing certain patterns if you're not taking the time to bring awareness to them. One thing that I noticed is I was starting to get so triggered like every Saturday. And then I learned that Saturday is the day ruled by Saturn. And I'm in my Saturn return, and I'm at the tail end of my Saturn return. That kind of was just like a reminder, like, okay, I get to look deeper into this. And once I did, and I brought awareness to that, I stopped getting so triggered on Saturdays. and my weekends just went so much smoother. It's kind of cool just to be able to notice those little patterns. Another thing that I've noticed for me is around my ovulation. That's a time where like I should be more energized and feeling good, and I've just been extra fatigued and getting headaches and breaking out a little bit more. I started looking into that because I've seen it's been an ongoing pattern, and it could be just excess estrogen, which totally makes sense because I'm breastfeeding. I'm also going to go to my acupuncturist tomorrow because it's always just been so helpful being postpartum and going to my acupuncturist whenever I feel like my hormones are a little crazy. I really have no plans for this video. I just wanted to share what was going on in my inner world and like what I've been thinking of and learning and just the insights that I've had. And that's really been such a big thing in my life lately, is cyclical living and just coming back to nature, coming back to my natural self, connecting deeper like with the earth and the stars and the moon. And I feel like that's just been the most supportive thing for me in motherhood. I just can't imagine going through motherhood without this, and I'm grateful that I spent so many years before having a child to understand these things, because now I get to live these things fully. I felt like I was attempting to live them before, but now like I am relying on living cyclically, and it's so important. It's so important. Yeah. Anyways, my baby needs me now. We have reached my video limit with her. I will share some things throughout this video about how I've learned to live more cyclically, what tools have been helpful for me, and what resources have been helpful for me, and just little daily things that I do to track where I'm at and to track where everything else is at. And yeah, if you have any questions or would like to learn more, I feel like I have learned so much about this over the years. I would love to share more, so let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and maybe I can make more videos about this in the future. And also in the comments, I would love to hear about what season and cycle that you're in your inner world. Yeah, just tell me about yourself. I would love to hear where you're at in your life now, and we can connect, because it's fun to see how we're all in different seasons and cycles, and then collectively we're in a season and cycle together. So yeah. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, hopefully.